Hello again, everybody. Josh Hunt here, financial analyst based out of Columbia, South Carolina. And what we're going to do today is expose you to the power of the union query. In an earlier video, I showed you how to take a crosstab view and convert it to a flat file view using SQL. And similarly to that, a union query, you have to write those in SQL format. You cannot use the design view. So, and stepping back for a moment, what I'm going to do, what we're looking at here is a project I completed, and it's fake data, just made up data, but there's two important parts to this project that I feel like would help you to be exposed to. A lot of the queries in here you really don't need to be exposed to. You'll learn on your own the smaller details, but the two main parts are basically, as I just mentioned, the union query, and then basically the power once you get it connected to Excel, what you can do once you have it into Excel. So I'm just going to show you the end result, though. We're not going to focus on that today, but in the next video we will. This basically, you can pretend that your controller or CFO is asking you to produce a report, and let's just pretend that it's this report with, say, your part description, part grouping, warehouse, an inventory report, in other words. And let's just say he wants to be able to pick up a month in a year, and then for the year give you basically a beginning stock as of January 1, and then monthly detail on how the balance basically moves from like the receipts, usage, other adjustments, ending balance, so on and so forth. And then maybe a summary based on the month he chooses to show you to compare to the prior month. But that's we're going to focus more on that in the next video. I just wanted to show you sort of the end result, so you have an idea of what we're actually trying to accomplish here. So we go back to Access, and so you start off with an inventory journal table, and if you were working out in the world, this would be connected to the back end of your accounting system through an ODBC connection. So we can just pretend it is. It's not here at my house, but so you have that, and you have these different queries. Let's say your stock query. You want your stock query. Basically, this here is taking everything, all the transactions, summing them up that are less than the year here. So basically, you're getting everything, all the transactions from 2011 and before, to give you a beginning 2012 balance. So so there you go. You can run this and see sort of what happens. So that's dynamic, linked to what you select in the form. You got usage query, same type of thing. But what we're going to do is take, you see this SQL here? We're going to take that, and it's going to be adjusted a little bit to put a month field in there. But if you open up this union query, you see a lot of what looks like mumbo jumbo here, but this is actually the most powerful part of Access for an accountant. I mean, with this you can produce basically many different types of reports. And instead of just talking about, let's get started here. Let's look at this first piece. This first piece, and let's back up even further. If you didn't watch my crosstab view to flat file view video, what is a union query? A union query basically is a query that places one table or query on top of another, and it has to have the same, each table or query that you're placing on top of each other has to have the same number of columns. So that's why you see all of these zeros down here. But what I'm doing here from a broad perspective, the broader story is I'm combining the usage for every month, the receipts for every month, the other adjustments for every month, and the beginning stock. So this first union query, or piece of the union query here, is the stock value. So if you look over, we're selecting the part description, part grouping, warehouse, stock 1, extended cost as beginning stock, then a 0 for everything else. These are basically your headings. So 0 as January used. The reason we're putting 0 there is because it's a placeholder. You basically, these union queries are distinct, basically pulls of data. So when I run it, let's run it and look at it. So you have basically your beginning stock here. This portion right here is what is being pulled, or the result of this right here. So let's look at it again. So you have this, and so you remember those all the zeros you saw. See the zeros here? Those are the result of the placeholders. So you got 0 as January used, 0 as February used, and so on and so forth. So that's your first piece. Your second piece is, well, you want, for any given year, you want the receipts, or actually this is used as of, say, as of January. The January receipts are used. So you've got to put a placeholder there, 0, and then it's going to be placed in the second column because it's in the second column. You can see up here you've got the beginning stock, the second number field. In other words, you got the first number field here, and then the second here. That's just the header. The actual data is coming from here. So let's look at that. So this part here is this. You can see the results. So you go on and on and on. Now the beauty of this is, it's tedious to make this the first time, but once it's made, it's very flexible. So you can basically group this. Let's look at it all grouped up. And see, there you go. When it's all grouped, you basically have your report. And you could probably produce something similar to this with a pivot table, but there are times when you may not want to use a pivot table. You may not want to deal with calculated fields or items or stuff like that. You just may want to have it as a flat file like we saw, or a crosstab view, but not a pivot table. So, and let's go back there for a second. So you can see here, we've basically you can easily insert columns here and make your own different calculations. And you can, show used only, which is stock only, basically collapses all the columns except for the used, or hides them, I should say. And then, or if you want to show stock only, you can look at that and show all. Developer. So you get a lot of flexibility with this type of view, and you can even basically, if you want to see the small subtotals, these automatically, if you use subtotal 9, basically you can have these totals updating dynamically as you filter. So but that's really for the next video. So we'll see you in the next video.